around a capital city where cab rides cost $3 and meals barely touch your wallet. Sounds fake, right? This is Tashkent, a city where deep history meets bold, modern design, and living well costs way less than you'd expect. I'll show you how exactly to get around, what to eat, and how to travel it like a pro. Day 1. Silk Road routes and Soviet skies. Morning. Chorsu Bazaar. We start our day in the capital at the legendary Chorsu Bazaar. Its massive turquoise dome rises above the old town, housing a maze of vendors selling mounds of red spices, dried apricots, and even hand-painted ceramics. I recommend heading to the outer rim to find the non-bakers first. Watching them pull hot, stamped bread from the clay ovens is a show in itself, and a steaming loaf costs around 50 cents. It's the perfect snack to eat while you browse. Afterward, check out the stalls of colorful ikat fabrics or traditional knives. Vendors here expect a bit of bargaining, so don't hesitate to negotiate a fair price. Insider tip. Take the stairs to the second floor gallery. While the ground floor is packed, the upper level offers a clean look at the complex geometry of the counters. You get a full scale of the operation here without the crowd. Hazrati Imam Complex. A short ride brings us to the Hazrati Imam Complex. This sprawling square acts as the religious heart of the capital, surrounded by towering minarets and madrasas. The architecture here defines the Silk Road style, mixing detailed brickwork and bright blue domes. You need to find the small Moyi Mubarak library within the grounds. It preserves the Uthman Quran, one of the oldest manuscripts in existence, written on giant deerskin pages from the 7th century. Entry is roughly $1, and standing inches away from history, this significance is an experience you shouldn't skip. Insider tip. Check out the Barak Khan Madrasa on the side of the square. The former student cells now house local artisans, so you can watch masters carving wood and painting miniatures right in their workshops. It connects you with the craft much better than a standard store. Late morning, Independence Square. From the old town, make your way to the modern center at Mustakalik Medoni. This enormous square covers nearly 30 acres and functions as the administrative heart of the nation. You're looking at a space defined by white marble columns, endless fountains, and the Senate building in the background. I suggest walking through the Arch of Good and Noble Aspirations, topped with gold storks, to reach the central monument. A massive globe and a statue of a mother holding a child now stand where the Soviet leaders once did. It costs nothing to enter, and the shaded paths provide a necessary break from the city's heat. Afternoon, Amir Temur Square. Head straight to the geographical center of modern Tashkent. Amir Temur Square is a manicured park dominated by the bronze statue of the conqueror himself on horseback. The history here is fascinating. The same pedestal once held statues of Stalin and Marx before the nation reclaimed its identity. The view behind the statue is just as famous. You're staring right at the Hotel Uzbekistan, a massive, brutalist structure that looks like an open concrete book. It's one of the most photographed Soviet-era buildings in the country. I recommend taking a loop around the park to see the contrast between the imperial history and the modern Forum Palace next door. Lunch, Cafe 1991. Walk a few minutes from the square to find Cafe 1991. This restaurant takes traditional Uzbek recipes and serves them in a polished, modern setting. It's the best spot to see how the local cuisine stands up in a fine dining environment. I strongly suggest ordering the crispy eggplant salad to start. The mix of hot fried eggplant with sweet tomatoes is incredible. For a main, try the tea house plov. It uses darker carrots and sheep fat for a deeper flavor than the street version. A meal here costs around $20 per person, which is fair given the excellent quality. The underground commute. To reach your next stop, forget the taxi and head underground. The Tashkent Metro isn't just transport. The Soviets designed every single station here to look and feel like a royal palace, also called Palace for the People, using real art and expensive stone to decorate the walls. Jump on at Amir Temur Square, which feels more like a grand ballroom than a train platform, but the real highlight is when you get off. You're exiting at Kosmonov Talar, and it's a total trip. The whole station's dedicated to the space program, with walls that fade from Earth blue to deep space black. As you walk the platforms, you'll pass floating portraits of famous cosmonauts, making the commute feel like a retro sci-fi movie. It's an experience you simply can't get in a cab, and it costs about 13 cents. Museum of Applied Arts. As you exit the station, make your way to the Museum of Applied Arts. It's tucked away in a quiet neighborhood inside the former palace of a Russian diplomat. The building itself is the first thing you notice. The walls and ceilings are covered in stunningly intricate wood carvings and bright hand-painted tiles. The collection covers the full range of Uzbek craftsmanship. You'll walk past cases filled with heavy silver jewelry, blue ceramics from Rishtan, and the famous gold-threaded robes used by emirs. I suggest spending extra time in the main hall to look at the Suzanis. These massive embroidered tapestries are the centerpiece of the museum. Tickets cost around $4, and since the space is compact, you can easily see it all in about 45 minutes. Insider tip. The gift shop in the courtyard is excellent. Unlike the bazaar, the quality here is certified and prices are fixed. So it's a stress-free place to buy genuine silk or a painted plate. Late afternoon, Magic City. After the museum, it's time to deliver on that promise of modern flash. Jump in a taxi and head to Magic City. If Chorsu Bazaar is the soul of old Tashkent, this place is the face of the new generation. It's essentially a massive, open-air theme park and shopping district designed to look like the greatest hits of Europe. You'll walk down the streets that mimic Paris, London, and Amsterdam, complete with a Disney-style castle that sits on a central lake. It might sound kitschy, but the execution is surprisingly high quality, and it's packed with locals, not just tourists. For a quick break, duck into the Magic Aquarium, the first of its kind in Central Asia. It's a surreal experience to see sharks and stingrays swimming in a tunnel beneath you in a double landlocked country. If you're not into the fish, you can just grab a coffee at one of the lakeside terraces. This is the best spot in the capital to people watch and see the modern youth culture of Uzbekistan. It's vibrant, loud, and completely different from the history you saw this morning. You don't need a ticket to enter the park itself. Walking the streets is free. You only pay for the specific attractions like the aquarium or the rides. Early evening, Tashkent Television Tower. Jump in a taxi and head north to Tashkent Television Tower. This steel giant stands over 1,200 feet tall and looks exactly like a retro-futuristic rocket ready to launch. It's one of the tallest structures in Central Asia, and you can see it from almost anywhere in the city. You go here for the altitude. A high-speed elevator shoots you up to the observation deck, where the entire city grid lays out below you. On a clear day, you can even spot the Chimgan Mountains in the distance. Entry costs around $8, and you can hang around the revolving level to watch the 360-degree view while the floor slowly turns beneath you. Insider tip. You absolutely must bring your physical passport. Security here treats the tower as a strategic site and frequently denies entry to anyone without an ID, so do not risk leaving it at your hotel. Evening, dinner at Beshkozon. Since you're already at the tower, just walk over to Beshkozon to finish the day. This place is legendary for feeding half the city, and the vibe is loud and fun. This isn't a quiet candlelit dinner spot, it's a culinary factory. You'll see waiters sprinting with stacks of plates, and the noise level's intense. You might even share a table with a local family, which is honestly the best way to experience Uzbek hospitality. You need to try the wedding plov or toyoshi. It brings a great balance of savory and sweet with chickpeas, raisins, and quail eggs piled on top. For a drink, definitely go for a pot of hot black tea with lemon. It's a local trick to help digest all that heavy rice. Make sure you stop by the open kitchen before you eat. Seeing the cooks working over iron pots the size of a jacuzzi is a sight that really sticks with you. A huge plate runs you about $5, so you can feast like a king for the price of a coffee. Day 2. Mountain Peaks and Tashkent City Park. Morning, Ugam-Chatkal National Park. On the second day, head out of the city for Ugam-Chatkal National Park. This is a massive protected area in the western Tian Shan Mountains, and it feels worlds away from the busy streets of Tashkent. It's wild, green, and absolutely stunning. The driving itself is part of the adventure. As you leave the city limits, the landscape shifts dramatically. You trade the flat, dusty plains for rolling green foothills dotted with fruit orchards and roadside vendors selling honey and dried mountain herbs. Keep your camera ready because the road winds along the Charvak River, offering incredible views before you even hit the park entrance. I strongly recommend you hire a private driver for this. If you rely on public transport, you'll struggle to move between the scattered sites, and you simply won't be able to cover the whole loop in one day. A private car runs about $50 to $80, and you'll have the flexibility to explore the area at your own pace. Charvak Reservoir. You need about 2 hours to reach your first stop, the Charvak Reservoir. This massive artificial lake sits at the intersection of 3 wild mountain rivers and is the absolute center of summer life in the region. You'll spot the water immediately. It's a distinct bright turquoise caused by mineral sediment from the glaciers. I recommend you head down to the shoreline called Pyramids or the public beaches. Entry fees are low, usually under $3, but if you want to rent a jet ski, be ready to drop about $25. Insider tip. Just keep in mind that if you visit in winter, it's strictly a photo stop. The water level drops and it's far too cold to swim, but the snowy views are still worth a look. Afternoon, Chimgan Village. Keep driving up the road until you hit Chimgan Village, the unofficial outdoor headquarters for the whole region. This spot feels like a time capsule of a classic mountain resort, and it's chaotic in the best way possible. You'll see the road lined with locals offering rides, so don't just look, get involved. Hop on a horse or grab an ATV to tear around the valley floor. It's the perfect way to feel like a nomad for 20 minutes. Expect to pay around $5 to $10, but here's the golden rule. Always agree on the price before you put a foot in the stirrup. If you want the high ground, head for the chairlift. It's in a vintage open-air Soviet seat that slowly lifts you to the slope. It might look a little rusty, but for just $2, the panoramic view of the greater Chimgan Peak is an absolute steal. Lunch at Beldersay. Now let's talk food. Before you leave the village area, pull into Beldersay. It's a proper mountain lodge, which means you get a real table, a clean restroom, and a killer view from the terrace. The kitchen cranks out solid local classics. Definitely go for the grilled lamb skewers or a hot bowl of pelmeni soup. It costs a little more than the street stalls, maybe $10 to $15, but the comfort is absolutely worth the extra cash before we head to the big slopes. Beldersay. Drive just 10 minutes from Chimgan to find Beldersay. While the crowds stand back at the village, this spot is about the long way up. You have to try the cable car here. It's a beast compared to the last one. A full 3-kilometer stretch that takes you almost half an hour one way. You glide silently over the river and deep into the mountains, which feels completely different from the busy valley floor. Tickets are a bargain at around $3 to $4. You're sitting in a vintage open seat with nothing but a simple bar across your lap. So if heights make you nervous, keep your eyes fixed on the horizon. For everyone else, it's the best seat in the house. Evening, dinner at Quadro. Head back into the city and drive straight into Quadro for a complete change of pace. This restaurant shows off the modern, upscale side of Tashkent with a sleek design and a polished atmosphere. The kitchen focuses heavily on European cuisine, and they do it very well. You can expect excellent steaks, fresh seafood, and refined pastas. It's a great spot to sit back with a glass of wine and enjoy a proper, high-service meal after a dusty day in the mountains. Prices here are higher than the average local spot, usually running between $30 and $50 per person, but the quality of the food and the setting is well worth the money. Tashkent City Park. End your night at Tashkent City Park. This massive complex sits smack in the middle of the new district, surrounded by the Hilton and the Glass Towers. Head straight to the central lake and catch the musical fountain show. The performance runs every hour from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. It's a chaotic mix of lasers, lights, and water jets shooting 80 meters into the sky in sync with the beat. Grab a spot on the central bridge or the amphitheater steps 5 minutes early so you have a clear view. For a final kick, look for the white futuristic dome nearby. That is the Flying Theater. Pay about $5 and strap into a hanging seat and take a virtual flight over the country, complete with wind and mist hitting your face. Otherwise, just cruise the wide paths and enjoy the lights. Useful info for spending 2 days in Tashkent. Best time to visit. Plan your trip for April through May or come in September and October. The air feels great, sitting between 65 and 80 degrees Fahrenheit or 18 to 27 degrees Celsius. It's the best time to walk the parks and see the sights comfortably. July and August are very hot. Winter's chilly, around 30 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit or -1 to 10 degrees Celsius, which means no crowds and plenty of space. City airport tips. Your arrival point will be Islam Karimov Tashkent International Airport, located just 4 miles or 6 kilometers from the city center. For the fastest entry, use the Yandex Go app to book a car immediately. This ride takes only 15 minutes and costs about $3. If you need a bargain, the public bus is your economical option at roughly 15 cents. Alternatively, skip the app with the official taxi desk, which charges a fixed, stress-free transfer fee of roughly $8 straight to your hotel. Where to stay in Tashkent? When picking your base in Tashkent, target the neighborhoods that define the city's split personality. Mirobod is a solid choice, placing you right next to Amir Temur Square, the main parks, and the modern glass skyline. For a completely different energy, focus on Yakasoroy, known for its tree-lined streets, relaxed cafe culture, and exceptional evening dining scene. If you're watching your spending, shared hostel beds begin around $15 nightly. For independent rooms, mid-range hotels typically require an investment starting at $50, with average rates often climbing toward $80 per night. How to get around Tashkent? Tashkent's transport grid is robust, relying on a clean metro system, buses, and cheap app-based taxis. For payment, forget cash entirely. You can now use a contactless bank card or smartphone on all buses and metro turnstiles. A single tap validates your ride and costs just 1,700 som, which is about 13 cents. If you pay cash for a single-use QR ticket at a kiosk, the price jumps to 3,000 som, or roughly 24 cents. Taxis are another major option. Download Yandex Go and skip the street hailing. Rides across town rarely cost more than $3 or $4. Where to eat in Tashkent? Tashkent serves up incredible food across its varied neighborhoods. To taste the city's history, drive into the Bodomzor district for the Central Asian Plov Center. This giant hall cooks the national dish in massive cauldrons, offering an authentic, bustling lunch experience where a heaping plate costs just $3 to $4. Switch up the vibe on trendy Taras Shevchenko Street at Afsona. This sleek venue reimagines local classics with a modern touch, providing a polished atmosphere where dinner bills land between $10 and $15. If you want a dedicated meat-free menu, seek out Eco Cafe. Situated in the quiet Mirzo Ulugbek district, it stands out as a rare, health-focused spot, serving creative vegetarian plates for roughly $6 to $10 per person. You just packed the absolute best of the capital into 48 hours. You've now seen the underground art galleries, eaten the best rice dish on earth, and figured out how to travel like a king for pennies. If you liked this deep dive into the city, hit the like button and subscribe for more real itineraries.